silence heal the moments near. Your voice is loud, it's crystal clear. Kiwi dreams and hopes collide. Choose the ones so stand with pride. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. The future's written in your hand. The chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In total we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. Fusion in your hand, a chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In this moment, powers redefined. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine.
Okay, good afternoon everybody for another It's in the Ballot show, and today we've got two fantastic candidates here on standing of why they want to be. Now, correct me if I get this wrong, Te Pūao Māori ward, is that how you say it, or how do you say it better?
Te Pūao.
Te Pūao. Te Pūao. Is that correct?
Te Pūao.
Ao. So Te Pūao. I should know that. I know someone who's got the last two letters in that in their last name. I should know that one. Yes. Oh, well, Nick, can you roll on the opening credits? And coming here live from the Evelyn Warren room of the Square Arts Community Centre here in Palmerston North, right where the train station used to be until they moved out to Milson in the 1950s. We have got Debbie and Bonnie here who have decided to put their feet to the It's in the Ballot fire and participate in our in our show, answering the questions that the community of Palmerston North have asked. How are you both there this afternoon?
Really good, thank you. Ngā mihi. Very excited.
And it's great to see two wahines challenging the Māori ward. Okay, so let's kick off with opening statements. Debbie, would you like to start off first?
E ngā mana i ngā reo rauranga tira mā nei rā te mihi nunui ki a koutou e whakarongo mai nei. Ko tēnei tētahi mokopuna o rangitāne, o ngā tirangi o tūwhare toa, e mihi atu ana ki a koutou. Ko tēnei tētahi mea nunui, kia pōti tātou te iwi Māori, kia noho tātou i te tēpu. Nō reira, ahakoa ngā take o te wā, ka rere ngā mihi ki a koutou katoa, kia tū tangata tātou te iwi Māori. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come and talk to you today. As I'm currently a councillor and Deputy Mayor of Palmerston North City, which is a big privilege. I think one of the things that I feel really thrilled about is the opportunity to represent my people, their values, their perspectives, and also their aspirations to ensure that they're integrated with council decisions. And as I mentioned before, it's a privilege having been born and raised here, having raised my own tamariki as well. My whānau have been really involved and active throughout the generations here, like so many others of our iwi and of our wider whānau, those who call Palmerston North City home. Nō reira, tēnā nō hoki koutou. Kia ora.
Thank you for that. Bonnie.
Kia ora koutou, he mihi mahana kia koutou i tēnei ahi. Ko Bonnie Kuruahau, he urio o Ngāti Kahanunu ki Tamatiara ki Nui, Kahanunu Rangitāne ki Wairarapa, a rātou ko Ngāti Toa Rangatira au. So big thank you for having me today. I'm really excited about being given the opportunity to run and also to be alongside someone so amazing. So thank you very much. I am here to represent, well, wanting to represent probably people that are away from home. There's a large lot of us in the Manawatu that were lucky enough to be born and raised here and love this place and have raised our tamariki here and would really like to give back. So just want to put my hand out there, make sure that I give the voice to people that are sometimes not heard, so disenfranchised people that are not connected to politics or not engaged with the process, or they don't even know how important it is and how it affects them. I'd just like to give a voice to everybody, so all voices are valuable and all voices are valued. So ngā mihi.
Thank you for that. So now we're going to do things here a little bit differently this show. Now, because we've only got two candidates here, instead of going through and getting them one person to answer one question and not the other, we've decided I think the 28 box questions should be answered by both candidates, because I'm pretty sure you're going to bring up some brilliant answers, not just for your voters, but for the whole community to know where you are, and fingers crossed, two ticks yes on the Māori Ward referendum. And I'll be honest on that one, I'm also doing that myself. So it's my little bit of, breaking my political neutrality on there. I always will do that for Māori wards, but it's about the only time you see me do it. Okay, so you get 1 minute to answer each of these questions. So the first question we've got here is F for Foxtrot. There has been much media coverage about candidates' behaviours towards their fellow candidates over the country. What are your personal values that make you a suitable candidate to be a councillor? Let's kick off with Debbie.
Tēnā koe. Well, first of all, straight up, I don't believe in dirty politics. I think that people should be respectful and responsible, particularly if they're serving people of their city and their electorate. I think that it's important that we are role models to those that we represent and to the future generation. I think it's really important that we give our very best and put our best foot forward, and that we're transparent in terms of our thoughts and what we support as well. I think that's an important matter. I believe I have conducted myself in a way that reflects that. And I also think that it's important, having served in public office before, I'm experienced in that, so I do understand what's required. And I also want to give back in a positive manner.
Okay, Bonnie.
Kia ora, same question. Kia ora. So what I think about, I'm absolutely against dirty politics and just as a person in general, I'm not really into hurting other people or making other people feel lesser or just absolutely against it. In terms of what values I bring, I definitely bring aroha to the table. I have a big, long network of people that I care about, from people from all walks of life, all experiences. So I bring that with me, whakapapa, so relationship, and also from the past, present and future. Because relationship is everything, and making sure that we have a relationship with everybody. And then the other thing, kaitiakitanga. So I believe in looking after our whenua, our people, and looking after the gifts that we are given, and that includes in the council. Definitely the gift of taking care of things that take care of others. That's me, ngā mihi.
Fantastic answers. It's not, dirty politics is a very nasty thing, and it's a behaviour trait that should not actually be accepted by any council or council candidate, and any person who says that it should be. My opinion, and along with many others, is it doesn't belong in the council chamber. Yeah. Okay, we've got question E. Do you think the council should be involved in providing social housing, and if so, how? Bonnie, would you like to go first?
I absolutely believe that council should be providing social housing. Number one, it is great for investment. So if we're going to grow our economy, we should be looking at land. Land is not being made every day. It is a resource that is very, very valuable. In terms of looking after the people in our community that need it, absolutely 100%, that's what we should be doing. Everybody in Palmerston North should have a home. And I think, though, it should be maybe specialised. So maybe we only look at doing one bedrooms, and that's just in terms of low wear and tear, less maintenance. But no, definitely believe in social housing. Thank you.
Debbie.
I feel quite strongly about this matter, and I know that in council I've voted for social housing. I think we should care about every person who lives in Palmerston North and within our country as well. We shouldn't have homelessness. We shouldn't have people living in the cold, on the streets, not safe. And I think that it's important that we as a society care about people, they're our own, and that we look after them. And I think that this needs to be something that central government should take responsibility for. However, in the absence of their support, then obviously local government, city councils are picking that up and doing so in a good way as well. I know that we've got many social housing complexes around here, and they're communities and they're thriving and they're doing really, really well, and we need to support them. Ngā mihi.
Okay, let's go for P for Papa. Do you support the fitting of solar panels to council buildings to offset daytime electricity use? Debbie.
Definitely. Love this kaupapa, and we've got members on council who've also been elected members who've been very strong in their advocacy of this. We need to utilise the environment. We need to look after our planet. And I know when my children went to kohanga reo in Kura Kaupapa, that they would, there was a saying they had, mā wai hei te aki a papa tuanuku, who will look after our Mother Earth? And the answer was mā tātou, all of us. And that's one strategy, using solar power. If we embrace that, we could do such a lot. That's one strategy to help our planet, and it just makes sense. I mean, we've got a lot of council buildings around the place. I'd be keen to have them everywhere, further extended as well, and subsidised for homes as well. But I think that I don't want to let central government off too much. Kia ora.
And Bonnie.
Kia ora, I agree. I support solar panels. It's definitely a good way to use a natural resource to power our communities, also to offset costs and to reduce costs for ratepayers. I would be probably asking about the capital cost of that, how much that would cost to set up, and whether it would be viable, if you make your money back off them, all of those sorts of questions that I'm unsure of. But in theory, absolutely. And also, where we would store the power is really important, where the power would be stored to make sure that they weren't hazard risks and stuff like that. So I just have to have a really good look over it. But in theory, absolutely support solar panels.
Thank you for that. I love the vibe. Okay, we got you for uniform. What should council's priorities be when making grants to the community? Debbie.
This is an interesting one because I know in my 3 years at council, we've had more applications for grants than the money we have to give. And so therefore there's a need out there. And I felt that they were all very worthy. However, I think that the panel who sit and listen to those grant applications, they come up with priorities that are based on our strategic priorities. Sometimes organisations can get funding elsewhere, but if they can't, then we might be the only option that they have. And if they're giving back to the community in a positive and meaningful way, then that's something we would rather see continue or start, rather than to leave them flailing and not actually get off the ground, or to continue with the wonderful work that they are doing. I think clearly it's people. It's got to be particularly those who are more vulnerable, for those who need to remain connected, and I think it's an important issue for all of us. Kia ora.
And Bonnie.
I completely support Debbie. I believe I come from a social work background, so I completely would support disenfranchised people having more resource to community funding, grants funding. Also, maybe given a priorities and a needs scale. I'm not sure what that looks like. But yeah, I think disenfranchised people, our Pacifica communities, Māori communities, kids in probably lower socioeconomic environments over in some of our other, some of our areas that get overlooked sometimes, maybe Roslyn and Highbury probably. But I mean, that's not specific. But yeah, needs-based, lots of needs-based grant funding. Ngā mihi.
Okay, thank you for that. Question X. Would you consider advocating for more safe pedestrian crossings on our main arterial routes such as Pioneer Highway? Bonnie, just so we can not stick in the same order.
Yeah, I would absolutely support more pedestrian crossings. I've got a grandchild on a main trunk, and to be fair, when I go outside, it's scary. There's nowhere to cross. This is down Vogel Street, so it's not Pioneer Highway, but similar sort of traffic flow. I definitely support more pedestrian crossings. I don't know why they're not there. Ngā mihi.
And Debbie.
Kia ora. Like Whaiboni, I too support that, because motorists aren't the only ones who use roads. And if we're looking after Papatūānuku, then we need to make sure that we've got the ability and the infrastructure to allow people to walk safely, to cycle safely. We have lots of children in our community. We want to make sure that they are looked after when they're going to school, that anyone who's on the roads, whether they be cyclists or motorists, or even if they're crossing the road, are safe. And I know that we have research that indicates that what happened down Featherston Street has turned out to be, although very controversial, I supported that because I teach there and I see those students often struggling getting across the road and pedestrians. But it's important that we make our environment safer for everyone, especially on those arterial roads. Kia ora.
Just as an out-of-towner, Feverson Street, is it one of the streets that is where the warehouse used to be?
No.
No? Okay. No. I remember there was something roading project done on that street that was also controversial at one stage. Oh, is it Cuba Street? That one's Cuba Street. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. Where is the warehouse over around there now?
It's on our Pioneer Highway. That's
Oh.
one of the entrances.
Oh, okay. I should know that. That's actually, you've just, I remember.
You must have passed it.
I was going to sit there and say, I remember breaking down next door to it, actually. So, yes, no, that's me having a brain fade there. Okay. Question I, which I think will carry on exactly from where the last question was. Do you support implementing safer speed limits around our schools within the Palmerston North City territorial limits? Debbie?
Yes, actually, this is something dear to my heart. As having been a school teacher and a principal for over 40 years, I can say that I do think that when it's school time, when the students are going to school or coming out, that those are important times when people do need to slow down and be cognizant of our students, of our young people going to school or leaving school. Not necessarily all day and every day, but I do think that there are times when we need to make sure that everyone slows down. It has been contentious all over the place, actually, just not only in our area. But if anything, if I was asked, would you prefer that they slow down? Definitely. I don't think people are in that much of a rush that they could sacrifice the safety of other people. So I do think that we need to put safety first. Kia ora.
And Bonnie?
I agree. They should definitely be slower, especially during peak times. So, 7 till 10 and 12 till 3 or something like that. So it's definitely a safety concern. I don't think there would be any reason to not have it slowed down, especially when they're leaving and coming to school. Yeah, ngā mihi.
Okay, question M for Mike. Concerning the central government messaging about councils being a core reason for cost of living crisis due to wasteful spending, do you think this is the case? Why or why not? Let's kick off with Debbie.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think that that's been overly critical. I think that that councils are doing their very best to make sure that they look after the community that they serve. I think that the issues regarding infrastructure, more recently local water done well, is something that has fallen on to our ratepayers when indeed, and council getting a bad rap for it, when indeed it's actually a tax, a central government tax. And I think that we need to make sure that people are aware of that as well. And I don't believe we have a certain amount of funding, resourcing. I don't believe anyone in council wants to see the rates go through the roof. We realise that people are struggling. We realise that we want to get the best value for money. However, there are some things we don't want to cut into muscle. You can cut off fat, but you can't cut into muscle. Kia ora.
And Bonnie?
I absolutely disagree with council being the problem with wasteful spending for the cost of living crisis. If you look at from what farmers receive for milk to what they export it for, is just an example. That's not central, that's not local government's fault. They operate on the smell of an oily rag. They do everything they possibly can to keep costs down. I think, the council does do the best it possibly can for all of the people in the rohe. I don't know if I should go into what I believe it is. I think that might be a little bit controversial, but I don't think it's local government, New Zealand. I would say it firmly sits with central government. Thank you.
Okay, let's go for Q for Quebec. What budget line items would you remove to help bring down rates in Palmerston North without disrupting basic services? Bonnie.
This has been really tough for me. When I was looking through all of the line items, everything in there is essential. Like there's not very much what I would call wasteful spending. The council does break it down into a very readable format so that you can clearly see where everything is going. I did see there was the recreation is quite high, but in saying that, that's important as well. I just, this is terrible, seeing as I'm sitting in the arts centre, I went straight to arts and that is terrible, but I was just thinking, if we are investing in arts, we're investing in people, which is fantastic, but I do believe when I look at some of the things we've invested in, if you look at Māori taonga or whakairo, there's story and whakapapa to it. When you look at some things like maybe the gnome, it's just thinking, where did that come from? But I don't know. I haven't got a firm cut on that. I just had a look at a few things and had a few questions, but yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Debbie.
Kia ora. I can say that when it came to the budget, that elected members deliberated long and hard, and it wasn't just over one or two sessions. And I agree with Whai Bonnie that when you look at those budget lines, they're crucial. And we certainly went through those with a fine-tooth comb. I think social well-being is huge. Some people say, oh, maybe we do away with the parks, maybe we do away with the arts or other things, or we lower those. However, we've got people who can't afford to take their children to places other than the local parks, to the reserves, to play sport in. And those facilities help keep people connected. They help them express. When you've got a community that is healthy and connected, then lots of other issues disappear. And I'm thinking that we are probably at the best we can be for the moment. Kia ora.
And we've got O for Oscar. Issues around climate change is becoming more important. What are your thoughts on supporting an anaerobic digestion of food waste to produce biogas similar to the plant in Reparar? Please note, this is not an incineration of general waste. Bonnie.
I think that's a fantastic idea. Like if we've got some sort of wasteful product or, that we're just wasting, why can't we turn it into something that's useful and productive for our city? I think we need to look at more of those options. Like what can we utilise to either, create a resource that is usable or that can create or generate income for our whānau. It's a fantastic idea. I think it's doing really well. In Reporo, I know that the outlay is quite expensive, but if it's going to regenerate that money again, why not? Yeah, that's me. Thank you. Ngā mihi.
And Debbie.
I think it's a wonderful initiative, and I think that, I know that Palmerston North City Council have investigated that and talked about that. You're right, the initial outlay could be costly. However, if we look at the sustainability and the long-term benefits, then I think that it's proven to be something of value. And it's also about protecting our environment, making sure we're not wasteful, making sure that we make the most of recycling, whether that be food waste, whether that be other kinds of waste. And it would also ensure that we are sending a very clear message and looking after Papatūānuku for the future generations. We've got children who are looking up to us for that role modelling. In fact, some of them are saying, why aren't you doing that now? And I want to make decisions for the mokopuna as well, that they'll look back on and say, that was a good call. Kia ora.
Okay, we've got V for Victor. Get the right slide on screen. If you are elected as a councillor, would you decelerate council spending on unwanted grand projects and concentrate on vital necessary infrastructure needs such as roading? Debbie.
Kia ora. Well, first of all, I suppose beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. And some people saying it's an unwanted or grandiose idea might not be seen by someone else. I do realise that there are times that we're living in hard times. Things aren't that easy. However, by the same token, we've still got to make progress. We've still got to prepare for the future, and we can't put everything on hold. That might be a false economy to think, okay, let's not spend anything for the next while. And then when things, we know there's an economic cycle, and when things are going upwards, then suddenly all hands on deck, and we realise, gee, we could have actually made a progress, even just a little bit, by doing something a bit of a time at a time. I think that getting agreement from the wider community is important for giving us the mandate to move on those things. Kia ora.
Bonnie.
I think it's time to grow and expand. Like, we should be looking at opportunities. I don't think it serves anybody to sit still and, prices increase. If you don't do something now, it's going to be way more expensive in 10 years in terms of materials, things like that. So if we're wanting to do it and it's a project that's going to be valuable to our community, we should definitely be looking at that. We should be staging our infrastructure. So instead of just dumping lots of money, we should be planning and staging the infrastructure to make sure it gets done, prioritising it, not doing the same roads twice that have already been done that are good. So it's just things like that. Really, I'm quite a practical person, but in terms of growing and expanding our community, that's exactly what we need to be doing. Great things come with great ideas, and sometimes a lot of the time you need to just do it, is what I think. So with, of course, consultation from everyone else, but yeah, ngā mihi.
Okay, we've got question H here. Do you support the central government introducing rate caps onto local authority, and why? Let's kick off with Bonnie.
Just from all the research I've done on it, everybody says that it's not a great idea, because if you cap it, later on you might get yourself into trouble, and you've capped it and now there's nothing you can do about it. That's just what I've read. In terms of what I know about it, it would be great if it was capped. So I live rurally, and it's going to skyrocket. But I think in terms of looking after everybody, we need to do what's the best suited for everybody. I don't know if that's rate caps. I'd say maybe probably not. Ngā mihi.
Debbie.
I think this is a smokescreen, to be honest. I think that central government are using councils, local government, as a way of trying to devolve their responsibility. I think there's expertise within the local community, within local government decision making, and that's been overlooked, that's been undermined. And I think that it's important that central governments stay in their lane, but part of their responsibility is to fund local governments to the appropriate level, and to do so equitably, so that we can get on with doing what we do very, very well. And it does concern me that central government are constantly putting in place things to make life difficult for local government. And I think they should wear some of that heat.
And an example of out there of a city that went effectively what would be called administrative bankruptcy was Birmingham, and it was the UK's biggest city that went bankrupt basically because of rate caps. And ironically, when the commissioners came in, guess what was removed? The rates caps that led to the problem in the first place. So it's been tried in the UK and not really gone down particularly well. Yeah, and I'd love to actually know what they would want to cap it on. Is it the total revenue increase? As in, if you sit there and say have an extra 1,000 homes paid into the pot, should that be classed as part of the cap, or is it just the percentage on the rates bill that goes up? Because, More customers paying in shouldn't be treated as the same. It shouldn't be treated as a bad thing, because in private business, it's a good thing. You know, if you're sitting there selling, have an extra 1,000 customers coming in, it's a good thing, and the shareholders like it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, S for Sierra. Palmerston North City has some cycleways along its arterial routes throughout the district. Is this a core function that Palmerston North City should provide, or a nice to have? Bonnie?
Oh, I'm a little bit split on this. So I think it's a nice to have, because all the cyclists I know actually cycle on the road. So they're just sucking up the roadway anyway. But I think maybe the design of it is not great. I'm not really a fan of the big things that we have down the side, those boxes and all that sort of stuff.
Boxes.
The planter boxes. I'm like, what are those? But people do come here to cycle, so people like the cycleways. They love the outskirting. Out in the, where are they? Over in Massey, places like that. People use our river tracks and love it. I mean, sometimes it's hard to find really great things about Palmerston North in terms of big events or big features here. So the cycleways have become a bit of a feature for tourists and people that are visiting. So that's always good. Yeah, no mahi.
Debbie?
I believe that we need to be catering to people who are wanting to cycle. We know that that's an activity that is healthy. We know that it's an activity that is growing in popularity. And also people come in now are cycling to work, are cycling to school, are cycling to the sports events or other meetings. And that's a good thing to see. And there's less pollution in the air when that happens. But it also means that our people are moving around and we want them mobile. We want to support that initiative of health and well-being. And I think we do have a responsibility to make sure that along with other councils, that we can sort of invest in that in the infrastructure so that we have a collaborative approach to making sure, whether that be from Fielding to Palmerston North on a cycleway, or from Ashurst to Palmerston North, or from Longburn, that we work together to make things happen and better. Kia ora.
Now, not so common for a city council. However, there is a bit of an agricultural area in organic vegetable growing that I know of, because I had a friend who used to get stock from there. But it's in the rural areas. Should rural communities have a say in the operation of council-owned rural water schemes? Debbie? Oh, sorry. Oh, C for Charlie. Sorry about that, Nick.
Kia ora. I think that it is important that, I like the notion of people having a say within the community about things that impact on them and their lives. And I think that we should have the opportunity to listen to them, and that they should be heard. I think that that helps councillors, and the whole process goes smoother, and also there's transparency when that does happen. I think it's important that we do listen to people and take that on board when it comes to making the decisions that will impact on them. So certainly, yes, I do think we should, rural communities should have a say in that as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Bonnie?
I live rurally, and I definitely think rural communities should have a say in the way that anything works rurally. So if you don't live in the community, you don't actually know what affects you and what doesn't affect you. And rural is very, very different from city living. Lots of us have town water, and the ones that do have tank water, we pay water rates as well. So, we actually have extra costs that other people don't have. So I think it's vital that anybody that is affected by a decision is consulted, and that they're what they are saying is given some sort of merit. Yeah.
I want to ask, with living rurally for you, Bonnie, are you on a tank or mains or trickle feed or the
Oh, so I'm on we've got a tank, but we're on town supply. So we're one of the only places out towards Tokomaru ways that are on town supply, which is actually quite unusual out that way, I think. So we pay our standard rates, plus we pay water rates as well.
Okay. Is that water meter or is that just the fixed water charge?
It's a water meter.
Oh,
So we're
heck.
metered, yeah. So it's expensive, and if you've got stock and stuff like that and you're on town supply, like it's huge. Usually people just use it as a last resort, but for townies that have moved to blocks, it's like, it's vital.
Yeah. No, I remember my days in Hokio Sands Road, and that's why my landlord called it trickle feed, because it took 14 days to fill the water tank while being used from empty to full, because part of the conditions of having that was you had to have a tank because the pressure was garbage in that. But I mean, hey, they managed to pump it all the way out to Hokio Beach, so we can't complain.
No.
I know my dad never was on it though, and he's still got the house at Hokio Beach. Now we got B for Bravo. Do you support political party endorsements of local government candidates, Bonnie?
I'm not sure, but what I did think about it is it's actually important for people, I think, to see political alignment sometimes, because then you can make sure that the table's balanced. So if you had no idea where anyone was sitting, you're unsure if it's a balanced table, and I think it's important to be balanced. There needs to be diverse opinions, and and if you have political, or if you have backing from a political party, you can clearly see where people sit, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's probably a good thing. At least we know. Yeah. Thank you.
Debbie.
I'm proudly affiliated to Te Pāti Māori, and I think that it's important that people know that. It's part of that transparency. It's part of making public your private theory, and it also holds me accountable to my people and to the values and perspectives and aspirations of iwi Māori as well. So, yeah, I do think it's important that people share where they're at. However, I know that on local government and council, we make decisions for our city and across the board, and with the best intentions. So, I think it's important that people do disclose who they're affiliated with, and I'm very proud to be Te Pāti Māori. Kia ora.
Okay, we got G for golf. The government and the Taxpayers Union have been accusing councils of being irresponsible with large percentage rate increases. What are your views, Debbie?
Do you know what? I think that's a huge insult to councils all around the country, because they forget that elected members live in that community. Elected members also have their families in that community. They're part of the community. Why would they go out of their way to hurt their community? And I come back to this notion of saying that central government have a responsibility, but it seems in more recent times that they've tried to devolve that responsibility and pass blame onto councils. In fact, even mooting the idea that maybe they do away with councils, which would be absurd and ridiculous, because local ideas, local solutions, people who live locally know best what their community needs. They just need to be resourced appropriately to meet that need. And I feel quite strongly about that. Kia ora.
Bonnie.
I don't think that anybody on council would go forward with the notion or the want to hurt other people in their community. I don't think that they would purposely raise rates if they didn't have to, but something's obviously sitting in front of them, and that's what needs to be done. I don't think that's even I don't even know why that would be a thought. I don't think anybody goes into positions trying to make things harder for other people. Thank you. In the community, so they actually would be raising the rates for themselves. So I don't know why that just doesn't make any logical sense at all, that they would be trying to hurt themselves by increasing rates. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very good point there. And yes, you are so right. Why would you want to hurt yourself and your fellow members of the community?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we got Y for Yankee. Auckland Council has recently shifted to taking away recycling bins of people who mix in general waste with their recycling. Should Palmerston City Council consider removing recycling bins for doing the same thing? Bonnie.
No, I don't think punishment is the way to make people change behaviour. I don't think removing the bins is going to help anybody that has, usually if they've put waste in the bins, it's because they don't have anything to put the waste into. So maybe we need to look at solutions where we're supporting people that can't afford to do the rubbish. We used to get rubbish bags every week and we don't get any of that stuff anymore, but we're still paying for it. So I think that another solution needs to be sought. And some people just don't understand. I know they put the great little stickers on the top of the rubbish bin, and that's fantastic. But I mean, lots of people can't read, or if they can read, some of it's a little bit unclear. I think there needs to be maybe you get a discount for being a good rubbish person. I don't know. Yeah, something more on those lines rather than punishing people. Yeah, thank you.
I can see a landlord not passing the discount on to their tenants, though. That's something I can see. Debbie.
That's a very positive initiative to incentivise things for our people who do follow the rules with regards to recycling. I wouldn't want to see us do away with any of that with the recycling either. I think we have a fantastic recycling plant. However, I don't want the people having gone down there and seen them, the workers down there, I don't want them having to deal with things that they shouldn't have to deal with. But I do believe education is a really important strategy that we can involve. And I'm not just talking about young people. In fact, the younger people do know how to recycle very, very well. It's perhaps looking at initiatives and ideas and strategies to get alongside those who perhaps don't or maybe struggle with understanding how to do it. But I do think we can be positive and proactive in that. Kia ora.
Okay, we got J for Juliet. Oh, and that's 2 pages back. Spending needs to happen within budget without increasing rates. What services or luxuries will you stop? Debbie.
Well, I think I made it quite clear before, but I will say it again. I think with the process that Palmerston City Council went through with regards to the budget coming up was very robust. And we looked at every line bit by bit. We debated those issues. So don't think that things went through undebated. They did. And so therefore I couldn't see anything that we shouldn't have put into the budget. And we've got we've forecasted for short term, long term, and medium term as well. Things have been phased. So we know what we're doing in 3 years' time and 5 years' time. They're looked at every year. And I just think that the process has been thorough enough. And no, there's nothing I want to take away from that either. Kia ora.
Bonnie.
I had a look through and I also agree. I didn't see any luxuries. Like I don't see any excessive spending in areas that are out of control or unusual. I think our council does a good job. I don't, I think everybody there is trying to do the best that they can with what they've got in front of them. And, I didn't see any luxurious items. There were no excessive flights or anything like that I saw. So, yeah, I'd agree with Debbie. Thank you.
I think that questioner is probably one you hear, hey, I know your car's meant to run on 95 petrol, but I think you can save some money by putting some 91 in there. Sort of mentality. As in, 95s are nice to have, but 91's essential. Is that something we can all relate to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. W for whiskey. I really like this one. Why do you think you're right for the role as councillor, Bonnie?
I think I have a really good connection with a whole heap of people from various backgrounds and places, ideas. So I'm a very good person for them to speak to and to advocate for them. I think I would be a good counsellor because I have a range of expertise or knowledge in areas that would be helpful to council. I've got children that are still in the school system. I've got probably a different perspective from some of the people in the council. I'm still working. I'm still, the stuff I'm doing is relevant to council works, things like sports grounds, things like that. I'm still using them. My kids use them. So I have a really good boots on the ground with people. I talk to a lot of people. So I think I'd be a great councillor because I'm really good at advocating. And I truly believe in making our community better. Thank you.
Debbie.
I believe it's very hard to say this actually, because those of you who are watching who are Māori would know the saying, e haramata kumare kōrero mai mo tōna reka. The kumara doesn't say how sweet they are or to show off. So I believe I've got heart for Palmerston North City, heart for the people who live here. I also believe that I've got experience and have demonstrated leadership in the course of my time on Palmerston North City Council. Having been a school teacher and principal for many decades now, I think I have a good understanding of families, the needs of families, the aspirations of them, of young people, what their realities are. I'm very connected and always have been, like my whānau, to our Māori community and the wider community as well. And it's just a privilege and a pleasure to serve. And I want to give service to Palmerston North City Council. Kia ora.
Now, this one is brought to by, was it vision impaired friend of mine? Palmerston North have many places where tactical tiles are used on footpaths to assist users who are vision impaired to know where it's safe to cross the road and what type of crossing they're using. Is this a core function that the Palmerston North City should provide, or a nice to have? Debbie. R for Romeo.
I think every person who lives in Palmerston North, whether they're abled or disabled, need to have their needs met. And I would hope that we would be more sympathetic to the needs of those who have a disability. And I know that we've got groups within our city who advocate really strongly. If we can make someone's life better by having those resources available to them, then we should have them. I'd be really worried if people who were able to see those things themselves, or hearing impaired or whatever, said, oh no, we don't want them to have it. It's about caring for people. It's about doing what we can do. And if we can do it, we should do it. And I don't see any reason why we shouldn't. It's not a nice to have. It's about being inclusive. It's about showing leadership, and leadership for protecting our people. Kia ora.
Bonnie.
I believe they're a core function as well. If it stops someone from having access to what they need to access, then it needs to be there. So we need to provide things for all of our whānau within Palmerston North Rohe. And that's, I agree with Debbie completely. So able, disabled, brown, yellow, orange, green, their needs need to be met, especially when it's actually creating a barrier from them accessing essential services or just getting around town. That shouldn't be there. It should be definitely a core function. Thank you.
Okay, we got T for Tango. What do you see as the main difference between Māori landowners and hapu in the terms of their relationship with Palmerston North City Council? Debbie.
Well, Palmerston North City Council has had a really positive relationship with iwi prior to even the council being established. And in Te Marae o Hine, there's a statue of Te Piti Te Awi, and on it, it says a comment from him, a statement from him, kua kaupapa e au te aroha mā koutou he whakaoti, which is very gracious. It's saying, like, I've shown compassion, and it's now for all of you, everyone, to fulfill, to complete. The relationship has been respectful and responsible. Part of that is saying that when we had the vote for Māori wards, Palmerston North City Council were unanimous in supporting that, and have been throughout. Very supportive. The relationship, we have a group called Te Whiri Kōkō in council, and they work alongside of and collaboratively with council staff as well for the betterment of the city.
Bonnie.
I would think they would have two very different roles. Hapu iwi have a completely special relationship with council. This is their whenua, this is where they're from, they're the ahika. They would make the decisions in relation to their relationship with council. With owning a land block, so if I bought a piece of a general title land in Palmerston North, my considerations would be, I think, different to, I would still have to respect mana whenua, I would still have to consult with them, and our relationship with the council would be different because we're ratepayers. Also, we're still kaitiaki of the land, we're still Māori, we're still connected to the whenua, but I would not be standing on relationships that were completely special and privileged to mana whenua. Yeah, nanahi.
Okay, we've got a few questions still there, but we usually take a halftime break at 5 o'clock. What should we do? Should we go for the rest of the questions, or should we take a break and then come back to the rest of the questions before hard-hitting questions?
We'll just keep going.
No problem. No problem.
Oh, the crowd looks like they want to stay longer.
Oh, yeah. It feels like, a very positive campaign from what we're hearing with the answers. There's like very good agreement. Okay. You're welcome to change that stance though if you want to. Was it K for Kilo? How do you plan to use deliberative democracy to ensure residents can directly contribute to the challenges our community faces?
Oh, can you keep that on? How do you plan to use deliberative? I actually read through this and I was like trying to break it down. I was like, hey, what are they trying to get at?
Do you want the card here?
Yes, please. So how do you plan to use deliberative democracy to directly contribute to the challenges our community faces? I think that's just about being inclusive. So making sure that everybody is participating and is involved in the process of our processes. So when something comes up for consultation, we need to make sure people are consulted, and not just the people that would usually engage, but people from all over. I think sometimes democracy gets left behind because we don't actually get that consultation. It's just particular groups that are participating, and that's when it all gets left out and missed out, and people get left behind in the processes. So I think we need to talk to the people that are facing the challenges, the communities that are actually affected, and we need to make sure that they're at the table when we're talking about them, and they're actually, we're deliberately doing that. I think that's what that means. Thank you.
Kia ora, and I'd have to agree with that as well. I think that sometimes there are differences within our community. Different people have different preferences. I know for Māori, a kanohi ki te kanohi would be really helpful. In a hui, sometimes going into places like council might be very foreign for some of our people, and that's even those from other countries who have migrated here. So we have to look at ways and avenues or strategies to engage them, because if people become engaged, then they participate. When they participate, they become more resilient. When they're more resilient, then they're more empowered to contribute in a meaningful way. So I think that it's important that we just don't think one size fits all, that we do go out and seek people's opinions, particularly if it impacts on their lives directly. Kia ora.
Okay, A. That's the right one there. Do you support household food waste collections to stop organic waste from going to the landfill? Debbie.
Yes, I do support this because I think it's there's ways in which you can recycle organic food, compost, and so forth. I think it's important that we look for ways in which we can utilise our waste better. And we know that there are some byproducts that you can have. I think here in Palmerston North, we've got a really good initiative and system, particularly down at the landfill area. They make compost from the things that they're able to recycle, and then they on-sell that at a much discounted rate. I think that it's important that we look for those strategies, not just locally or even nationally, but even globally. There have got to be better solutions for our environment, and we need to be open to all of those things. Kia ora.
I agree. So it's, I think it's definitely something that we need to do. It comes from the earth. It should go back to the earth. And if you're not using it, why wouldn't you give it to someone else? And why wouldn't we collect it? It's because we live rurally. Actually, we use a lot of our stuff goes to animals, or it's put back into the garden and mulched and all of that sort of stuff. So we do a lot of stuff organically. And I think there's heaps of opportunity for young people to come and learn how to do those things. And I mean, we could do it's just a massive opportunity. If we collected all of that, we could make something with it or do something with it, and there's an opportunity to have rangatahi or whoever wants to come and learn about how to do those things. Great opportunity for council. Thank you.
Okay, we've got question Z. What's one big opportunity or challenge you see for the district or for the city? Bonnie.
One big opportunity or challenge. I see they've cut halved the government funding into roads and infrastructure. So I see that's going to be a massive challenge. Like, we've got so much stuff to do on the roads, and they've halved the money that they're giving to us, which I think is actually negligent of them. So there's stuff that needs to be done. I think that's a massive challenge. In terms of opportunity, maybe it's time to stop contracting and going back to employing people. I don't know. I just thought that could be an opportunity, because, out of struggle always comes opportunity. I think we're going to have to be adaptive and find new solutions, because it's not going to work with the budget cut. So thank you.
Debbie.
I think one of the big opportunities we have available to us is Te Utanga Nui, which is the connected roadworks that would, well, not just road, but road, freight, being on rail, and also planes, that we've got the opportunity geographically. We're central, and people were able to come into our region, into Palmerston North, if we're all connected. So we're just, poised, ready for that to go. And there've been many businesses that have moved here or set themselves up in the anticipation. They too can see that that's going to be a wonderful opportunity for us to do that. With regards to what's a challenge, I think one of the challenges would be, as Whai Bonnie had mentioned, would be the roading and getting the appropriate level of funding we require to maintain our roads to the appropriate level, because money was pulled out very, very quickly from us for that. Kia ora.
Okay, we got D for dinosaur. Oh, and I better change the graphic. What is your view on residential, commercial and industrial growth in the city? does say district on there, but it's a city council. Debbie.
Well, one of the things I do know, having been on council, is that we are growing. Palmerston North City is growing. And that's a good thing because people are choosing to come here. They're either choosing to come here or they're having more in their whānau. Both are good. But with that brings opportunity for growth in businesses, in commercial activity, and I think that the city planners have oversight of that. They're identifying areas constantly that would be best place to put our residents, best place to put our businesses, and other development, in particular what areas to look after, where there might be some consideration required for heritage and also for accessibility for people. So I do think that that's completely positive. Kia ora.
Okay. Bonnie?
I think that it's absolutely a positive thing, but we do have to carefully plan where the infrastructure is already built and where the best places to continue that build is. I just see it as a massive positive in that the growth it's going to be exponential. So I think it's projected to have like so many more people here. But of course we don't have the infrastructure for that at the moment. We don't have the housing. So it's good that the council's already looking for those options, and I fully support the growth areas. Of course in that industrial area, there's going to have to be other considerations like how it affects the residents that already live there. But no, it's a positive. Thank you.
Okay, we have in for November. What will you do to stop poor council expenditure and allocate resources to critical infrastructure and rein in huge increases? Bonnie, do you want the card?
Yes, thanks. I'm getting a bit tired.
Oh, I certainly can relate to that.
What will you do to stop poor council expenditure, allocate resources to critical infrastructure and rein in huge increases? I think that because the council is actually advised by people that know what they're doing, so people come in and actually they're in charge of those areas, and it's their job to research and to look at those expenditures. I would, if I was going to rein it in, I am quite a tight person in general. I'm pretty cheap. So I would be asking questions around, is that the best value for money? Are we using the right materials? Are they at the best prices? I would be questioning everything, which I think is probably annoying. Have we, investigated alternative ideas? So that's how I would rein in huge increases. But I don't know if you can. Like if infrastructure is needed and that is what we need to progress things, then you're going to have to pay for it. So just looking for value for money, absolutely.
Yeah, Debbie.
I think there's an assumption made here in this question that poor council expenditure happens. Well, now I'm going to argue against that and say, go back to what I said previously, and that is that council have debated every item that has come up and every budget line, every sort of project that's put on. When things come to council, the staff do a very, very good job of making sure that they provide several options, and council look at those options and they're the best considered options at the time. And that is important that people realise, and if they're not sure of that process, then they're certainly welcome to come to council and to observe what goes on, likewise to read that as well in the minutes. But allocating resources to critical infrastructure, of course, is something that's pivotal and paramount as well in our considerations. Kia ora.
Since we are on very tight crew, we're going to take a 5-minute break so Nick can do what he needs to do. He is just, unfortunately, so we'll take a 5-minute break and we'll be back to finish off those questions, then hard-hitting questions.
Balance here, the moment's near. Your voice is loud, it's crystal clear. Kiwi dreams and hopes collide. Choose the ones who'll stand with pride. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. The future's written in your hand. A chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. And that's how we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. There's a fortune in your hand, a chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In this moment, powers redefined. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, the ballot's here. The moment's near. Your voice is loud, it's crystal clear. Kiwi dreams and hopes collide. Choose the ones who'll stand with pride. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. The future's written in your hand. A chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. And that's how we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. There's a fortune in your hand, a chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In this moment, powers redefined. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot.
Oh, oh, heck, that was quite a good break. I think we're all a bit more energised now from that. You've taken off the mute key? Oh, sweet. Okay. Yes, we feel all more refreshed right now. Okay, let's get to question L. Do you think Māori wards such as our own, and I feel like I'm gonna balls this one up. Was it Pūao Ward? Pūao. I'm going to get there. Pūao Ward, Māori Ward strengthens democracy. Why or why not, Debbie?
Clearly, I do agree that having Māori wards strengthens democracy for the very reason that it addresses historical underrepresentation. It also recognises the significant and unique role of Māori with regards to Te Tiriti or Waitangi, and I think that it's important that we engage mana whenua, tangata whenua in all of our decision making, and that acknowledgement is really significant. So yes, because it highlights democracy. If you don't have that, then you can't necessarily say it's democratic, because we haven't included the people who need to be sitting at the table and acknowledge them for their contribution and for the unique role and position they have. Tō reira, tēnā koutou.
Bonnie.
I always look at Te Tiriti as a contractual agreement. That's just the way my brain works. So, you know, we had an agreement and a party did not honour that. So someone has broken the agreement and it's still not right. The only way we could democratically address that is to have 50-50 seats. That's my thought on democracy. The agreement was two parties. But, you know, it's a step forward. It's an absolute step forward to have Māori representation. It's really important for us to be sitting at the table because, like DB said, we've been underrepresented for such a long time. We've got so much to give and so much to offer. We're good people, we're smart people, and we bring value. And it's really important for us to be sitting there. And if it's a system that's skewed, the chances are that we might not be, but we should be. So I absolutely agree with Māori wards. Thank you.
Okay, AB. What's your biggest priority for the next term and how do you intend on delivering that?
Me. In terms of priority, I've got like a few small things that I'm quite passionate about. All the people around me are very passionate about. So one of them was that we didn't plant any more ornamental trees, that they be fruit. So I actually agree with that. I thought that's a fantastic idea. And the other thing was around access to parking, which I feel strongly about as well. You know, we have parking meter people sitting outside and waiting outside of Oranga Tamariki, outside of outside of the courthouse. Those people are already disenfranchised. They're already, they're limited access as it is. They're things that shouldn't be there, in my opinion, and in the opinion of lots of others. The other thing is sports parking. We don't have the necessary facilities at sports places. There's not enough parking, and yet we've got people going around giving tickets to people that are already have problems with access, that might have been very expensive for them to even get their kids there. They can't even afford the fees. And then on top of that, are now getting tickets for parking to watch their children. I think a lot of our systems are set up for people with one child and, like lots of us have lots of children. So we're running from here to there, and all the same with people that are in the sports scene, they're busy people. So I just don't think that we have the facilities to actually to assist that, and I want to make it better. Yeah, thank you.
Debbie.
For me, social well-being for the community is really pivotal. I want to sort of make sure that I'm part of the solution as opposed to part of the problem about getting people involved in our community, making sure that facilities are accessible for everyone, making sure that we have places where people can go to where maybe they don't have to pay anything to go in and enjoy it. I know that when we have our Esplanade days, and there's a whole lot of activities going on, and we have our player coordinator there who's organised a whole lot of things, that people just have fun and enjoy each other. And I want to help people connect with each other. I want to help people in our community realise and appreciate what we do have here, and also see the benefit of having Māori wards in our city, and also the benefits of that collaborative partnership. Kia ora.
And one last box question. I think this is going to be a short and sweet one,
I was
though.
really excited.
What political parties are you linked to, Debbie?
Te Pāti Māori. As I'd mentioned before, I'm really proud to be aligned and affiliated to Te Pāti Māori, and I'm quite happy to make that public as well. Kia ora.
Bonnie?
I'm the same. I'm Te Pāti Māori. I do agree with a lot of policies from other parties as well, but strongly Te Pāti Māori.
Okay, Nick, can you please roll on the hard-hitting questions, please?
Hard-hitting questions. We're not gonna make it funny. What does a question? Because every candidate has an answer. The hard-hitting questions.
Okay. So, hard-hitting questions are the questions we ask all candidates. Now, just remember, we only got two here, so it isn't there. Thanks for pointing me to actually look at the right camera, Nick. Okay, so let's kick off with hard-hitting question number one. Do you think the council is doing enough in the terms of wastewater treatment and disposal? Debbie?
Yes, I think Palmerston North City Council have made a concerted effort in making sure that our three waters, and wastewater, of course, is tied up in that, is being treated appropriately. And in fact, I'd say that looking around the country, Palmerston North City is in the top third of the best going in terms of what we do, and we're probably never satisfied, so we're continuously looking at improvement, but I'm very grateful for the staff that we do have on council who have made it their priority to make sure Palmerston North City, along with the elected members, has the appropriate process and strategy to deal with wastewater. In fact, all the waters, the three waters within Palmerston North City. Kia ora.
Bonnie?
I think the wastewater treatment people do a fantastic job. I'm all about, if you can't drink it, then it should be going into the whenua to filtrate. So filtering it again. I'm not really into dropping it into the awa. So I think there is room for improvement. I think they do a great job, but things can always be better. And I know that our council, or Palmerston North City Council, does a really a much better job than others. So that's my thought on that. Thank you.
Okay, let's get ready for hard-hitting question number two. Are you comfortable with the way the council manages its debt position? Bonnie?
From what I could see, we loan against asset a lot, and then it's their long-term loan structures that come off what looks like a central government. Debbie probably know way more about this than me, but it's sort of like looked to me like a mortgage. So we had it for a long spanning time, and then by the time it was, the asset was nearly finished, it was finished, the loan. I think it would be really good if we start working from, instead of being in a deficit all the time, so we debt, if we look at opportunities to actually get into the plus, so we're not always in the red. But I mean, it's the way that councils do it all over the place. So it obviously has been done for a long time, and maybe it works well. I'd have to look into that more, but thank you.
Debbie.
Certainly, Palmerston City Council don't like having debt, but we realise it's something that we do have to live within, and hence the budget process was part of that was saying constantly any decision made, we had staff there who were able to say, this is where the ceiling's at, or this is where you are in relation to debt. And it was an iterative process. So it happened over several months, and we were able to get down to a point where no one's happy with debt. Let's be quite clear about that. But it was where we felt was we were best placed to deal with what we had to deal with, and at the rate we did. So elected members are cognizant of how much debt we have, and we're constantly looking for ways in which we can get that down from the ceiling that it is at. Kia ora.
Okay, let's get ready for hard-hitting question number 3. What is your position on retaining the Te Pūao Māori ward for Palmerston North City Council and the Tonga Māori constituency for Horizons Regional Council, and why do you hold that position? Debbie.
Well, hopefully throughout this interview, this process, I've made it quite clear that I'm very, very supportive of Te Pūao ward, as well as with Horizons seat as well, Māori seat, and it is about equity. It is about making sure that Te Tiriti o Waitangi is adhered to, that we're just doing what we're supposed to be doing, and making sure that Māori are at the table, so that Māori values, Māori perspectives, Māori aspirations are integrated with everything that the council does in terms of their decision making. And I think it's important to note that that goodwill is extended to everyone. We work well with people. And so if anyone was offended by that, you'd have to ask why. Because it's completely positive. Kia ora.
Okay. Bonnie.
I completely agree. And, if you want to have an Indigenous voice, or, have Indigenous perspective, you've got to have Indigenous people there. So, you can't make decisions for people that are in your community, which we are. We are part of your community without us. It's really important that we're included in the conversations. They're conversations that affect us and impact us and our whānaus, and we should be at the table 100%. I agree with Debbie. Like I've said the whole way through, it's vital that we're part of the decision-making process, and we add value. We do add value, and we care about everybody in our community, and we can say that wholeheartedly. I can say it about Debbie too. We wholeheartedly care about everybody in our community, so we are vital to decision-making. So yeah, thank you.
And I'm still yet to find a Māori ward candidate who is not supportive of retaining the Māori wards. I have a feeling there might be one, but that person did not appear on the show. So, yes. So let's get for closing statements. Bonnie, you get to go up first. What your closing statement of why you should receive the voters' first preference vote?
I feel the same. It's sort of, I could probably describe Debbie and she could probably describe me, and it would be a whole lot easier. To be honest, I could easily do that. Like I said before, I've got a large network of people that I come into contact with, people that are not usually heard or valued, and I will be able to get their voice at the table. I'm a fierce advocate for, I've got young children, I've got youth input, they're talking to me all the time. I think I would be valuable in that aspect. And I've got a business background as well, so I know a little bit about business and property, so will be helpful, I think, in the next steps of where we're going with social housing and the building and the opportunities. I think I've done that before, so I would be good at it. And I think I would be very good with other people on the board table. I get on with most people. I'm really good at hearing other people's opinions and points of view and helping find a solution. I'm a solutions-focused person, so I like to hear people's different ideas, hear what they think. Opposing is fine, that's great, and then coming up with a solution that works for everybody. Thank you. Namahi.
And Debbie.
I feel that the experience that I bring to council, not only as a elected member and my role as deputy mayor, but also my life experience, and of course you can't separate that from being Māori. That adds to my proven experience in leadership within the community, and I think that I have a great deal more to offer. And I feel also that there are some projects that I would love to see fulfilled in the next 3 years. And I think it's important that we keep that momentum going. I believe in inclusive leadership. I believe in equity. I believe in te tiriti o Waitangi. And I think that all those things together lend for a better city, lend for a better society and nation. And I'm happy to stand up and be counted. Nō reira, ka mutu taku kōrero I konei, kia kaha tātou tiwi Māori ki te tūtangata. Tēnā tātou.
Okay, so just a couple of general housekeeping before going. So when it comes to voting, voters will be using the voting system single transferable vote. And as this particular board has 2 positions, in order to get across the line, the candidates have to have at least 34% of the vote plus 1 to cross the line of the quota. So when coming to the selection, make sure you don't just look at just your first preference, but also your second preference, because that second preference will also help decide who becomes the councillors that sit around the table for the next 3 years. Now, we've finished off with that particular housekeeping. Let's go to It's in the Ballot Productions. It's in the Ballot Productions is an independent non-profit organisation that is run on small dollar donations. This show, this venue booking, and these shows have been set and been produced by the hours of volunteer labour, such as myself here in studio, as well as Nick, and also the hard work from Stacey, who has spent many hours making up graphics and all sorts of things for the show, and also for Paul, who's been stepping in, and also for Carol, who's been doing our social media, and for the little bits that have come from Ray. It's not easy to do it up. Now, these shows still have fixed costs to keep running. Our venue hire today was $120. We have also our venue fixed running costs of $14 a day for the Starlink connection, which is what we're broadcasting out on at the moment. And also the Restream hosting account is $31. We also have an allowance for, on paper, we've allowed for 2 cars for transport. We've only used 1 in this case, but it was $100 per vehicle. And we also have an allowance of $50 for refreshments. So if you'd like to help small projects like us to help voters get informed, feel free to head to our Give a Little page and put in a donation. You can also go onto Eventbrite and purchase a koha without admission ticket on this event, or get a koha with admission on other events that we have coming up. Or you can also directly deposit funds into our KiwiBank bank account, and if you want one with the least fees, direct credit transfers, quickest that get us and help us keep this going. As I say, I'd like to also thank our candidates for taking their time out on this Sunday to put their feet to the It's in the Ballot fire. To our audience who have sat there graciously clapped throughout, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I mean, I've already think I've sat there and thanked the crew. Have I thanked the crew, Nick? Yeah, doing a good job of trialing doing what was effectively 3 rolls in one hit. This ain't a normal thing. It was just it was give it a try, see how it goes, and we'll go from there. We will be joined back at 7 p.m. for the Palmerston North constituency for Horizons Regional Council, which we look like we're going to be having a full night. So thank you to all our candidates, audience members participating here, and we'll see you all back at 7 p.m. tonight. Have a good evening.